Hey there everybody, welcome to Tucktuk's Trinkets and Terrain. For this week's video, I decided to make something that I actually haven't made in bulk before, and that is some ruins. I've got a bunch of foam bricks already pre-cut from a previous project, so I thought it'd be a good time to use up some of those. I'm really happy with how they all turned out, so I'm going to show you what I did and how I did it, and I hope you enjoy. For this project, I wanted to use up as much scraps that I had lying around as possible, so for the base of all the individual room pieces, I'm just using some chipboard, and then I've still got a bunch of these bricks left over from my large temple build that I did a while back. Cut up all of the chipboard into some usable pieces, and then it was just a simple matter of using some tacky glue to glue on all of the individual bricks. Nothing special here, just alternating bricks, trying to be random with each individual piece. I made about, I want to say 20 pieces for this project total, although I sort of made 3 separate batches. The batch that I'm going to show you on video here will be sort of like a jungle, like almost feywild version, but generally they're all the same in terms of the construction here. So here are the first few that I made. After all the tacky glue was dry, I made up a sort of a texture paste out of some ultra fine sand and some PVA glue. And just spread this around on all of the brick surfaces. I did this pretty heavily, so I lost some of the brick detail in the final product, but I still think the texture gained from the sand made it look sort of worn and used overall. And then once that was dry, I went back in with some more PVA glue on all of the pieces and sprinkled on some mixed sand to add some variety to each of the bases, and again just let that sit to dry overnight. Now for this set that I'm showing on camera, like I said, I wanted to make them sort of feywild adjacent, so I'm going to glue these crystals down on all of the pieces just to add a little bit of variety, add some color, different texture to this set of ruins. Just using hot glue to attach, and then while the glue was still hot and cooling, sprinkled on some more sand to help blend it into the sand that was already there. So here's this set all dry and complete. And then after base coating everything with some black paint and Mod Podge, we're trying to be careful not to get too much paint on the crystals themselves, everything got a layer of some dark gray, then a overbrush with sort of a dark green, and then a more sporadic overbrush with a dark brown. I also painted all of the blank spots on the chipboard in the dark brown. Once that was all done, applied a quick black wash all over everything to deepen the shadows and grunge it up a bit. And then our last painting step is just a dry brush with a very light gray to bring back the texture and add some highlights. You can see here I did lose a lot of that individual brick texture, but in the long run I think it's okay, and I'm still happy with how everything looks. Now again, for this set I wanted to make them feywild, jungly sort of, so I grabbed a bunch of plants and flowers and just various foliage that I have. Again, trying to use up scraps and things that I've had on hand for a while, and just using some hot glue, applied a bunch of these all over this set. Making sure to use the same plants and flowers across all of the pieces so they were all cohesive and sort of one unit. Threw a couple of grass clumps down as well. Here's all of those complete with all of the different foliage and flowers and whatnot. And then I actually went out and bought some fine turf from the local game store in the area and made up sort of a moss paste that I'm going to spread over all of the brick texture and kind of just really anywhere. I went pretty heavy on this to add some fungus and moss growth on all of the surfaces. They do dry it a lot darker green. The PVA glue that's mixed in just makes it a lot lighter on the camera here. So for one final step, I wanted to give the ground some flocking and some more texture. So what I like to use for that is actually dried tea that I buy from the dollar store, and then just cut open all the individual bags. I find that the texture is super varied and it adds some nice color for a very convincing ground cover. And by mixing in a little bit of the green flocking from before as well, it adds a little bit of greenery as well. And then just painting on some PVA glue and spreading that all around the bases here. And all of the ruins are done. Most of the ruins ended up just being plain stone with some moss on it. I didn't add plants or anything to make more of a generic set. But I really like these, how they turned out, super bright and colorful. I like to have a lot of vegetation on my table. So I think these will serve, like I said, as a jungle or feywild or something along those lines. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe and hit the like button. Leave a comment of a suggestion that I could have done differently or maybe a future project that I can tackle down the road. I do have an Instagram account if you want to check that out. I post in-progress pictures and other things that I've got going on, different setups that I do for my own D&D game. I also have an Etsy shop where you can pick up dungeon tiles and different terrain accessories to use in your tabletop games. Both of those links can be found in the description below. But more than anything, thank you so much for stopping by. See you next time.